Oh, there it is. Okay. All right, so today we're going to talk about Aquarius Moon and Pisces Moon, and I'm here with an Aquarius Moon because I like to interview people with different moon signs because I don't know how they think other than the research I do. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what I know about the Aquarius Moon, and then Heather can tell me if I'm right or I'm wrong or I'm totally off. But again, this is basic astrology, so I'm not looking at the entire chart. I'm not looking at where her moon is, house-wise, what it's aspecting. But let's talk about, when I said before, the moon is the filter, how we see the world. Usually it is relates to the mother, your relationship with your mother's personality, but it can be, here's Edgar.
Is Edgar an Aquarius?
He's a Gemini.
Oh, okay.
It can be, he likes to break mommy's things, so we have to be careful. Sometimes just one of the parents, you know, the 10th house is one of the parents, the 4th house is one of the parents, and the 10th house traditionally was the father, but that's not always the case because, you know, in astrology, it was more always patriarchal, especially Western astrology, whereas in Vedic astrology we go by more the moon and the mom and everything else, or women, you know, we look more at the moon. So I'm getting off on here. But anyway, the Aquarius Moon, one of the parents would have been detached, and just think about the sign Aquarius, and they're known for detachment, right? So they're known to work for causes, humanitarian type of things. So detachment is the name of the game. And again, I talk about this in a lot of the videos. You know, the symbol, I don't know if you knew this, Heather, is the water bearer. It's a man with two, you know what I mean?
I think I've seen that before.
You know what that means? Because
everybody's
always,
swim?
everybody's always like, an Aquarius is in a water sign. And I'm like, no, they're not. They're an air sign.
Oh.
The pails of water symbolize emotions. And the man is like, he's holding his emotions on both sides without getting wet with emotions. And that's the nature of the Aquarian vibe. So one of the parents would have maybe not expressed emotions openly. Does that make sense to you?
It does. I mean, my father, I would say, probably didn't really emotionally connect with us, or I can say with me. I always theorize, I'm not really sure, but because I was the baby, I don't know that I was like a planned baby. I think I was a wonderful surprise. And I think maybe in later part of their lives, maybe my mom was, very excited, but maybe my dad was, I don't know. I always got that feeling. Like I was always a little detached from my father. But it does make sense a little bit. I know that my mother was a lot more like clinging to me in a lot of ways. So I don't know if that has any bearings to it at all.
Yeah, so the dad would have been, and that kind of colored your personality because both your parents do. She's also an Aquarius sun and an Aquarius rising, right? Aren't you
right, well, I'm a triple Aquarius.
Yeah, so rising,
well, that's what
sun,
I've been told.
Yeah, sun, rising, and moon.
Yeah.
So, you know, with the rising sign is anything in the first house, and as we all know, that sign gives height. So how tall are you? You're pretty tall.
5'9".
Yeah.
Wow.
She's pretty tall.
I am tall.
But I'm kind of tall too.
Yeah.
But you're a little bit taller. But anyway, so
the emotion thing, that's really interesting. So when you say not to get wet himself, he's balancing these things. Is that because you're saying that those are signals of the parental?
No,
it's
the Aquarian nature is, okay, I'm going to work for a cause, or I'm going to, do this, but I'm not going to get over the top emotional. Meaning he's not getting wet. And, water signs are more emotional by nature. So he's not getting and listen, I think those are the best people to work for causes because they do a lot, they're not like burning cities down and you getting their emotions involved, oh, do you do that sometimes? No, but they're working for a cause and they're doing it in a way that's not violent, and they're doing it in a way where they're not getting too angry and most importantly, not violent. Being able to communicate with somebody, being able to be like, this is what I feel without calling names, I think is a really good, those are the people that make the biggest changes in the world. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I see it. I mean, I do some of that. Yeah.
Because if you're trying to change my mind on something, am I going to listen to you if you start threatening me and calling me names? No, I'm going to be like, delete, whatever.
Right.
But I think the true Aquarian is they're about humanity and peace and let's work together. And even though we may disagree, we can still work together. That's the truth. And I see that in you. You know what I mean? You're not somebody that's, like hateful or whatever.
Right. Well, I can be in my mind sometimes pretty hateful.
Well, I mean, can't we all?
But no, I think I have a cool, not cool like I'm very cool, but like a cool kind of adapted state. Mm-hmm. So I may have brooding emotions at home, not that I lash out on people at home, but like in my own private space, I may brew about some things, but like in my adapted state when I'm around others, I keep it in check.
Right.
So, but I feel like that in that way, it's almost like I've always felt like that I had a responsibility. It was like a feeling of responsibility all the time. I always kind of attested that to the way I was brought up, because my mother was very religious. We were at church every Sunday, confession, you know, like every, I don't know, I guess we sinned maybe every couple months, so we have to go to the confessional every couple months.
I think I sin every day.
Oh, is that how it works? No, I'm just kidding. No, I just remember it was, you know, there was no leeway with that, but almost like that also, there was a responsibility as well with that. Like once you learn those things, that was your responsibility to carry on the humanity up to a certain level, not necessarily expelling your morality on everyone, but keeping it up to a higher level, expectation for yourself.
I gotta say, you know what's interesting about that is traditionally Aquarius was ruled by the planet Saturn, which also rules Capricorn, which is about stability and structure. Modern astrology says it's Uranus. So a lot of us astrologers, I look at Uranus or Uranus. Some people get upset with me for saying Uranus. Yeah. But I also do look at Saturn. You know what I mean? Because I look at, so if you're an Aquarius, you know, rising, I'm going to look at the placement of Saturn in your chart to tell more of that story. So it's interesting that you talk about that structure, because Saturn is all about structure.
Right. Does it make us, like, for instance, I'm also drawn to people who are not, don't wear their emotions on their sleeves. Like I run from drama. So is it an Aquarius, a person that has that kind of in that balance, also not drawn to or attracted to people that have that?
No, that's more of a Capricorn.
Oh,
and so if I were to look at your sidereal chart, there's, you know, degrees difference, like 24 degrees. So you very well could have all those planets in Capricorn.
Oh.
So you're kind of you know, the West is more psychological. They say the East is more predictive. And it's true, but I look at a little bit of both, you know? I mean, it's just, I got traits of a Scorpio for sure. And I for sure have traits of a Libra. You know what I mean? So I have a lot of the bad traits. I'm just kidding.
And all the good ones,
but you know, so that is, so there is most definitely something Capricorn in your chart that's making you be like, I don't want to be around these people, because the Aquarian, the real Uranian, they would be around all kind of strange people, and it would just be, they would be accepting and, you know, not uncomfortable. Some people are uncomfortable around unique or eccentric people.
I think maybe it also has a little bit to do with age. I think growing up, I think, you know, I could get sucked into certain things, and then I get my tolerance level for like drama, like almost see it a mile away, and it kind of turns me off. So maybe it's more life circumstances created that in me, that kind of like, I don't really want to deal, like I'm picking and choosing now. I'm like, I don't want to deal with too much drama.
That's life.
Especially not necessarily people going through difficulty, but if they're bringing the difficulty on themselves, I think that's what I have a hard time dealing with. You know, people that just like, you know what I'm talking about? The people that kind of like look for ways to be very dramatic, or that this happened, the flat tire, and it's because this and this and the whole, you know, and it's like, okay, just relax, you know, it's just a tire, you know, just please, or, you know, that everybody's out to get them, or, you know, that's.
I think people in general just get better at reading people because you've experienced things, and so as you get older, you meet somebody and you see little red flags. And then you're like, no, I'm not moving forward with this.
Yeah,
you know
okay,
what I
I
mean?
could get that.
I think that's a lot of, you're younger, you haven't really experienced enough to know if you should.
Yeah, and it was almost like, I didn't realize I had a choice.
Yeah.
You know, like you just feel like that's what life dealt you, these people in your life, you just deal with them. But then you get to a point where you're like, they're sucking everything out of me. You know, that kind of thing.
Well, yeah, they are sucking it out of you.
Yeah, and it takes a lot out of you. You know, so I don't know.
And it also gets annoying. I have Uranus on the ascendant, but it gets annoying to be around too many weird people for too long, because it actually gets boring. It's like, you know, I've seen this guy wearing the clown suit coming around. You know, it's like you see this weird stuff, and then there's no like novelty to it after years of it. It's like, okay, this is just weird, and it's not getting me anywhere associating.
You're like, conform already.
Or do something even weirder to get me interested in you. You know what I mean?
No, and I am trying to appreciate diversity, because my first impulse is to go, what is that? Like, just, will you look at that? And I have to go, nobody, you know, not everybody lives like you. There are different lifestyles, different, you know, people dress a certain way. And who am I? But it's so funny. That's the first impulse is, what is, you know, like, just, but I have to become more tolerant with that. I mean, I do. I talk myself off of that, but my first impulse is, get a job. Like, what are you doing? What is this? What is that? I don't know.
That's more of Capricorn. So that's more, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you do a lot of humanitarian work, though. A lot,
Well,
which is very Aquarius.
I don't know. I mean, I'm a guardian ad litem. I've always wanted to do that. I did prison ministry for a few years. That was wonderful.
Yeah.
I really feel like it's almost a compulsion for me. Like I can't not do it. It kind of drives me to do it. But I feel that I'm at my best when I'm not self-consumed. So if I can concentrate on serving others that I think is the greatest need, then I am more happy. Ironically enough, a lot of people go, oh, you need to take some time. I take plenty of time for myself. But that's the problem, is that if I focus too much on me, then I'm not very happy. I think that I'm the happiest when I'm doing something. And I found that guardian ad litem was the best way I could in my, uneducated, meaning I don't have a degree in child psychiatry, I don't have sociology, all these other things, that this was the best way for me to contribute to something that I think is really important. And Pinellas County and Hillsborough County lead the nation, one of the top 10 of adoption and foster children. Yeah, it's really bad. A lot of children are getting yanked from their homes. There are some really wonderful agencies out there that do an incredible amount of great work. And the guardian ad litem position is a volunteer position. And basically what you're doing is you're standing in the gap and you're a voice for that child, but it's not as simple as that. So a child may be anywhere from newborn all the way up to 17, right? So this child has to go through the court system, and they'll have a lawyer. They have a guardian ad litem lawyer. They have a regular lawyer, the mother, the father, whatever the circumstances, the caregiver, the facility that they're in. So me, as a guardian ad litem, I actually go to the court and represent the child. I state what the child's wishes are, if the child is old enough to say it, and then what my recommendations are. But also I have to get very knee deep in their lives. So I have to know who they are, who the caregiver, make sure that all of their things are being taken care of, their medical.
So you really have to build a relationship with these kids.
Absolutely. And that is the most wonderful part of it, is that it also puts together very unlikely lives, because we can live in our bubble and we never get exposed to anything on the outside, but I deal with children who are abused on every imaginable level of abuse that you could, even in your most horrible thought, could think. These children have got it. Some are, could be on a different spectrum of abuse, or it could be also neglect as well, in addition to all of that. Courts are very slighted towards reunification is a big thing. Very, very important for them. It's reunification, but it's not always the best situation.
Right, I can imagine that. So, from being a teacher, I can see where a lot of them come from.
Right, and also, exactly. Yeah, and I've actually had discussions with your sister about that too. And I can tell you that some of the cases that I've handled so far, it's heartbreaking, but there's also a great feeling that there is hope. And if someone were to step in the gap right there, these children who are victims will eventually become a perpetrator. Unless somebody steps in the gap and helps them. And it's not just the guardian ad litem, it's a whole team of people that work. But a guardian ad litem is very pivotal because they're the ones that kind of link everybody. And the court and the judge also will listen to you more than anybody, because they know you're in it not for a paycheck, that you're doing it because you love the child, or that you really do care about the child, and you're able to give an objective view of it. So it's, you also have to pull yourself out of it and look, what does the child need? What is the best thing for the child? So it is I think it's a really valuable thing, and I wish more people would do it. It can be a little time consuming, but I only have 2 cases because I still work. So, but I raised 6 kids. So I know my way around these children to a certain degree. I mean, obviously I've never dealt with severely abused children, right? Even though I'd like to punch my kid. I'm just kidding. But no, I'm just kidding. But anyway, my kids are like, were a good practice for me in all the areas and all the personalities that they had. So it's been really a wonderful thing. I've only got, like I said, I only have 2 cases, and typically these are great for retirees that love children
Yeah.
or that want to get involved. So anyway, that's
So being
yeah.
that you're an Aquarius moon, a lot of people couldn't handle that job because they would get so emotionally involved, and then they would get, you know, anything, you know, over the top emotionally involved where you could easily get hurt, you know, like what if you don't get to see the kid ever again, or you know what I mean?
Right.
But I think having an Aquarius moon is good because you still, even though you care, you have a level of detachment with that, you know, and I think
I have to, because I'm not in it for me. So if I
Yeah.
get emotionally, like it means to me, or what that child has to do for me, then I've lost the whole vision of why I'm there. Right. So I can love that child and love, and then maybe in 3 or 4 years I'll never know what happened to the child, but I'll always know that my directive going in was not that that child would have a relationship with me, even though it'd be fine if they did.
Yeah.
That ultimately my goal is that that child makes it, and that he or she will thrive and be productive citizens and enjoy their life and get and everything that life has to offer. But unless somebody does that, these children are really doomed to just end up in the same vicious cycle over and over and over again. And it is really tragic, and it's something that, well, anyway, we'll go back to your you know what I mean.
So we're gonna do the Pisces moon next time because I don't think we have time. Oh no, you're good. I want people to know about that kind of stuff anyways. But this is what an Aquarius moon is. You know, it's better for me to talk to somebody with that moon than me always explaining that moon.
Yeah.
Because then you can kind of get in that brain.
It's
better.
a compulsion.
Yeah,
for us
of what they do, and you can see how she does it in a good, non-violent way. She's actually doing something good for kids. And trying to help parents at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm sure there's maybe some educating with them that goes on too. You know what I mean? Helping them.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't want to be.
But you know, whatever. We all help each other out. So this is the true Aquarian moon, the true nature, the giving, the helpful, you know, into causes and groups, the ruler of the 11th house and organizations. So anyways, would you grab that? We're going to see you next time with the Pisces, the red dot.
Red dot. Oh.
Pisces moon. Bye.